Welcome to the Golden Feather. Grab a pint, a plate, and pick your seats. Your hosts Vertek and Chibi Bree are back from their latest adventure.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Golden Feather. Today is the 27th of May, 2022. This is episode 123, and it's called... Yeah, exactly. Yeah. As real as it gets. And we have our guest here. By the way, sir, just so we can get it out there for everyone to hear, do you prefer it as real, as... There's so many different dialects and ways of saying it. How do you prefer it?
Just as real. I originally spelled it that way just so I could get the tag on any game I played, because if you spelled it the other way, you just ain't going to get it.
Yeah, no, probably not. Everyone wants it.
That's fair.
But, yeah. So, for those who don't know... Oh, by the way, everybody, those who actually heard the intro, I'm sorry. Totally didn't get this done ahead of time, and I may or may not have just dropped in a quick recording and slowed it down so it'd fit in a longer time frame, and it may have sounded weird. Sorry.
I think but you've got an Android on. Yeah,
no, it sounded very much more evil. You're like, welcome to the Golden Feather.
Oh, damn.
It was fantastic, actually. Yeah.
Fucking hell.
It fits the name. But anywho, for those who don't know, who are you? Where'd you come from? What brought you to Ashes? And why is it the greatest game known to man?
Well, it's definitely that. It's definitely the greatest game soon to be known to man. But I've been following it for years, to be honest, mate. Even when I was on Xbox, well, obviously originally I was an Xbox player that came to PC and converted, but and that Ashes was one of the main reasons. But I followed it for years silently, just in the Discord. And then when I switched to PC, I've always wanted to do content creation, but there's been no game that's like really hooked us to actually get right involved in. I suppose Ark, but I never made too much content, and that was my Xbox. But yeah, that's why, and I just thought I'll start making content. But I wanted to do it at the right time, and there was so much going on. There's a lot of content creators out there doing Ashes, and I wanted to kind of learn and do it my own way.
There you go. Yeah, there's honestly there's a good bit of content creation individuals out there, a good number of them, but
yeah,
a lot of them come and go because they jump in and they're all excited and they like what's going on and they get really happy about the game, but then they just kind of disappear after they realize that it's going to be a slow slog between now and release.
I think it'll come pretty fast. I know that Alpha 2, I'm still optimistic we could potentially, the small part of my soul wants it in November. I know it's probably not going to be. It's probably going to be next year, Q1 in my eyes for Alpha 2. But to be fair, even if it is next year, I don't think that's too long. Like, I think the time will fly by, and to be fair, better not to rush it and have a decent Alpha 2. So I'm looking forward to it, man.
Yeah, I agree.
Same here.
By the way, chat, you guys get to see Azrael, like, his name, we get Voldemort.
Yeah, I don't know what that Voldemort looks. You know what? I really need to change that, but ever since I started gaming, I've always had the Voldemort picture. And like I said, when I used to log in servers and Ark, people would instantly presume I was a troll because of the picture. But no, I have got YouTube channel art and stuff, but as for the guild and like my personal stuff, I definitely need a better profile picture. One that isn't Voldemort, but it's been with us for years, so I never changed it.
I was just gonna say, well, with the Voldemort picture, the more evil sounding, like, welcome to the Golden Feather. It works,
Yeah, it kind of fit. That's what I was saying. It was my bad with the not getting ready ahead of time, but I think it worked out. It worked pretty well.
No, it's all good.
Yeah. Heck yeah, Revan.
That's all good.
Seasons and weather.
Yes,
that is exactly the topic today. Mainly because, that nice little live stream today.
Yeah.
The stream was awesome. Like, it was a really good stream, to be fair.
Oh.
Yeah. No, I agree. I will. I see what you're doing. I will go fix the bot real quick and have that do it.
Oh, no worries. I'll go ahead and toss it. Oh, yeah, we'll wait then. make it look all nice and pretty. But yeah, Captain
Yeah,
Redbeard,
yeah.
thanks for the lurk. Definitely, yeah,
No
because it's gonna
problem.
be, if you want to have an actual reaction to the stream, you definitely want to hold on, because we're gonna be
Yeah,
talking about a bunch
definitely.
of the stuff.
And
For
we're going to be
sure.
showing some of the stuff that they showed on the live stream, but also that they've already uploaded to YouTube. So thank goodness for that, because there's less ads that way.
Yes.
But
And the ones they have aren't as annoying, I don't think.
yeah. At
Oddly
least
enough.
most of those are like towards like at the bottom, like just a tiny little banner instead of like a whole thing. Ugh. I hate when I get engrossed in like watching a streamer and then there's an ad that plays and it moves it to the corner and I see them doing things, but I can't hear them because I just hear the ad. And I'm like, what are they talking
Yeah.
about? I'm missing information.
Mhm.
But yeah, lots of interesting stuff to talk about. But first and foremost, what did your general impression of today's stream?
I honestly, going in at like, I thought I don't want to overhype myself in case like it's not that, it's maybe just smart and it's not actual gameplay. I was sure it was going to be, but I thought it was fucking awesome. Like, it was really good. You're talking pre-Alpha 2 stuff. Obviously, it's going to be better for Alpha 2 and then post-launch, God knows what it'll be like, but at least we can see the direction it's going. I think it was really good. I like a lot of the stuff that's at play. And say, for example, you saw like the dingy weather or the rain. I'm not really a fan of. I like vibrant games like Happy Environments or Snow Weather. But when I seen the rain and the effects, I was like, fucking hell, that looks so nice. I really want to I would love to just play that just in that thing. So for someone who isn't into them type of environments, to draw me over and be like, no, this is really cool. Yeah, they're definitely doing something right, 100%. And even the Thames, seeing the Thames switch over. I was hoping when I seen the dragon, I kept eyeballing it and I thought, is that going to come in? Are they going to do like some event here? But they didn't. So, but it's still pretty cool.
Yeah, I was hoping he was going to try and hunt it down.
Yeah.
Where?
Yeah, there we go. But I gotta say, just to get this out of the way, when I first saw this video coming up, first off, I didn't catch the live stream. I had to watch it afterwards, so I had the ability to go over to YouTube to see if it was something wrong with Twitch. But I was kind of upset that the VEC was all pixelated and blah and looked like terrible. Until later on, I realized after I watched it again that it's more like it's out of focus. For some reason, the camera's focusing on everything behind the character instead of the character itself. So I don't know if they did that on purpose or if it's like an action cam type of thing.
Yeah.
But I
If it
really
is an
wanted to see
action
all the
cam-
details of the VEC.
Yeah,
VEC are
I mean,
awesome.
especially you, because you love the VEC. But if it is an action cam, I guess that would raise the, suggestion that they would need to work on the focus targeting for that.
See, problem is it
potentially.
doesn't look better because that's the 4K version. And granted, that's on a 1K monitor on my side, so maybe it's not really going to show much better. But
I pulled it up on my 4K monitor, and I definitely think it has something to do with a little bit of the focus, like you mentioned, now that you're talking about it.
So yeah, I
I
haven't
pulled
checked
it up.
the YouTube footage yet. I just watched the stream, so I'll have to go over the YouTube and have a look at that.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
because
got
the
a
stream's
2K
also
monitor.
limited to 1080. Yeah, you got the
Yeah.
2K.
yeah, I got the 2K monitor and I pulled it up on there and it didn't really look like better. But I mean, I was
yeah.
okay with it, and I got to settle with it after I realized that it was more of a blurring effect rather than it just looking like crap. I was really upset. I
exactly.
thought maybe they were like censoring the character model by like pixelating it all out. Made me sad.
But yeah, I think the 4K looks way better than 1080 any day, especially when rendered in 4K. So, but don't really have much in terms of news except for the big thing that happened today, which is the live stream.
Yeah, I don't have very many pieces of news. We have a big piece of news.
Yeah,
Just not very
just
many.
the biggest. Yeah. Hello, Neptunies. Welcome to the Tavern. I hope you enjoy your stay adventure. Where do we start with this?
First off, I guess what was the big standout point for you on the weather system?
That's a good way to start. Yeah.
What's the big thing that popped out? Be it a detail you saw, or what was described, what's to be expected, or what was demonstrated that popped out as like, wow, that's gonna be really, really cool.
To be honest, all of it, mate. But I think one thing that is cool. I liked all of it. I was like, this is fucking good. But I'd say certain areas being locked off. Do you see where that ice melted and it opened up the thing? And obviously we had Steven's sandal there. I imagine that won't be one of the many achievements, getting Steven's sandal, but who knows, maybe it is. But that was pretty cool. And the boats, mate, so I don't know how long it would take, but say you're out farming and you've got a decent amount of cargo, a decent ship, you've put effort in, maybe good BPs on it. And then say you leave that ship, you go, the weather changes, you come back, your ship can potentially be in a frozen lake. So it kind of, there's a lot of, I don't 100% know how it's all going to play out, but certain things like that I find really interesting, especially when it comes to PvP or even PvE elements. So I think that's going to be really cool. And the sounds as well. The sounds, obviously, not just the visuals, like the sounds were so immersive, like to just chill out and just be playing. Yeah, it was fucking awesome.
Yeah,
I agree.
For me, I'd have to say it was kind of what you ended on, the ambience, like all the ambient characters, or not characters, but creatures and sounds and visual effects that were just happening when the seasons changed, like the little dust devils, the butterflies, the leaves would be actively falling off the trees, not just, okay, the season's changed and now there are no leaves. No, they're just actively falling off the trees and flying through the air. That, to me, I think is one of the biggest things. And even the actual targetable entities in the world changing and being different, but the Kirin themselves and the tortoise and all that, like just the impact it has on just the visual and audible ambience of the world. That's what I think is really cool.
Yeah, I agree, Matt. It kept tripping us out when we were in the stream, and everyone in Discord, kept saying Kieran. And obviously that's my name. So my name is pretty much the same as the same. It's weird, but no, I think that was. I think they look really cool. Also, I'm pretty sure I was half concentrating because of the kids. I'm pretty sure with the dragon, I looked away at one point, but didn't that change? So it was one setting when the seasons changed. I'm sure it changed it like an ice dragon, but I don't know if that represented that would change or whether different areas. I'm not sure on that one.
I was getting the impression that there were different versions of the same creature at different times of year, different seasons.
Yeah, so one thing I'm curious about. Oh, go ahead.
No, you're all good, Matt.
I was just going to say that the one thing I'm curious about with the Kirin specifically is if they are truly changing to a different mob type, or if they have like the tortoise mount, or I guess turtle, because it goes in. Yeah, it swims in the water. It's a turtle.
Yeah.
Turtle mount that has the plant on the back that changes with seasons. But it's the same creature in every season. If the Kirin are going to be like that, if it's the same creature, or if they're legitimately a different mob type with a different loot table and everything.
We talked about that. It's like, I think, well, I was wondering if when they change, if you tame them, are there different variations? But like you're saying there, to me, if they do change with the seasons, I imagine it's just the one mount. It would be cool if you got different ones per season, because then if there was a rare mount and you wanted the winter version of it, it would be even harder to get. But from what you're saying, I kind of think maybe it will be just the one mount and it changes, but I don't know on that one. It is. Hopefully they say some more on it.
Yeah, I agree.
And what were you about to say?
Are you sure you want to open that can of worms?
Ready, set, go.
Okay. I disagree. I think that it might be the same creature, and that depending on the season, the augment to the creature itself augments the loot tables versus it being a whole other creature with a whole other loot table. So it's not necessarily like creature 001A and 001B, but more like 001A augment 1, 001A augment 2. the same creature, but with like a slight different augment to it with the loot table, which gives it a whole other set of data. And the only reason why I think of that is because they were talking about the spawning system and how the spawning system is given a certain amount of data to determine how often to spawn a certain mob creature and how much within those cycles. So maybe not every time it's winter will the winter Kieran come out, but maybe every third or fourth winter will the winter Kieran come out. And so to me, that speaks to a much more to me, that speaks to a much more welcome in. That speaks to a much more complex. I mean, we knew it was going to be complex going into it because it has an AI system. So this speaks to a much more complex data system behind the entire world than just, okay, now make it spring. It's snowing, now make it spring. Okay, but like, which version of spring is this? Should we determine where this creature or this foliage comes out this time, or is it the next one instead? It's like, there's a lot to it. But that's why I think the Kieran having a winter and a summer version is still the same creature. Perhaps it changes over as well, like we saw with the mount that you suggested, the tortoise mount that has the changing with the seasons. This is just a opposite side, so you're not seeing that nice change with the season, but perhaps it embodies nature itself. That's my viewpoint, at least.
I could see that. And hello, by the way, there, Bumby.
Yee.
But silly cleric. Animals don't have secondary archetypes. Don't get augments. But no, I see what you're saying, and that's the one thing that made me curious is how complicated they were trying to go with coding. Because if they, for instance, have bears hibernate in the winter, so you don't really see them terribly often in wintertime, but you'll see more, like, say, deer or something out there, then they would have not as many bears spawn, and it'll take time for them to despawn or get murdered or, you know, cut down for bearskin rugs or whatever.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Now with the Kieran, they may have just saved some code work by just saying, hey, it's just going to change what creature type it is, and visually it's just going to change color, but it's still going to be the same number of them spawning.
Yeah, that's potentially too. Azrael, what do you think of like potentially coming across, say, a bear in the wild during the fall as you slowly start to notice? Because they even said the weather system will be a precursor notification that the weather is about to change, right, in the next day or so. So let's say you log off for the evening and you had like to go kill X amount of bears for a quest, and you log on the next day and let's say there's 5 of them and you kill 4 of them, and you're waiting for them to respawn, but they never respawn because the weather's changed over. How would that affect you a little?
To be fair, I'm quite organised with stuff like that, so if I didn't get the quest done in time, I'd just accept it, be slightly mortified, and then just wait it out. I'd say, I'm going to do something else. But I'd say if he does play it like that, stuff like that will definitely happen. I don't think it's too bad, though. I think it's worth, waiting out or missing out for them kind of changing dynamics in world. I think it's really cool. But I imagine at times when you're grinding quests out or you've done stuff a certain amount of times, it could get annoying, but I don't know. I think it'd be okay. I'm fine with it.
Hey there, Cash Coast. Thank you for the resub, by the way. Much appreciated. Welcome, friend. Welcome. I think that it would, with me, I really wouldn't care too much, because it's probably only going to, no baby news yet, Cash. None. Zero. Zero news. But, yeah, I think it would end up being just a side quest, because I'm pretty sure that they would be on the ball enough to not make it a major quest or a major unlock type of thing that needs to be done with seasonal creatures. Or the world would be big enough that you could go to a totally different region
and finish it off.
And those might be spawning over there because the world's big enough that the weather has rotated to that section of the world.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe you'll just need to travel.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, that was it. That was it. Just maybe you'll need to travel.
I liked what Ashes and Near had said earlier, and I'd been saving this in the deck for a little bit for it to kind of come back into relevancy. But what would you think? Because Ashes thinks all we need now is stuff like the insect buzzing and things like that. It already seems perfect, but just like small little touches. But what would you both touched on the audio aspect of hearing the world around you, which brought me back to Alpha 1 when Vertec literally made me stop doing what I was doing, come over to his desk and listen to him go over a hill as I heard the ocean before we saw it. And that clearly shows that there's an importance with the audio design, right? So my question is, what do you think of not just weather systems, but the audio in the game changing slightly? Like you may start hearing birds chirping more, or perhaps some insects chirping as it begins to thaw out of winter and go into spring.
I honestly think that's class. Like, I really do. If you bring in all the other immersive systems they have and all this crazy shit that you've got going on in game, if you didn't have, or you had a really bland environment and really half-assed sounds, I definitely think that would pull you away. And some of these systems that are bang on, if you don't have that, I don't think it'd be that good. But with the sounds and the stuff we heard today, I think it's going to be class. As bad as this sounds, and I'll probably get hated on for this, when I first started playing New Worlds, right, so the pitchforks are already out, I liked some of the sound effects they had, or when you were mining or the trees falling, and as bad as some of the elements of the game, I don't play it anymore. I have decent hours in it, but I enjoyed it, and that was the one redeemable, apart from the crafting as well, redeemable quality to the game, like the sound and the environment. And it made me, first when I went in, I'm more a PvP player, but when I went in, the PvE elements of it was really nice, man. So if Ashes keep going the way they're going, I think they're going to win every ever with it. I think they've got it bang on, like.
Yeah, and I gotta say that's one of the few things that I heard from many people with New World was the ambient sounds were just fantastic.
Yeah,
and I think they're gonna pay as much attention to that here in Ashes because they already have. I mean, like Chibi said, during the Alpha 1, I hit one point where I was floored. I started to get like chills. Like, this is crazy. It looks beautiful. And I know there's an ocean right over there because I can hear it. I haven't seen it yet. I haven't seen that the ocean exists yet, but I can hear it. And I kept galloping closer and closer, and it kept getting louder and louder and louder until I crested over a hill, and it was just... I finally saw the ocean just appear. It was fantastic. So I have a feeling they're going to be paying as much attention to it. And it's really important, like you were saying, because if you think about it, how engaging do you think a game would be if you had zero ambient noise? No footsteps, no wind, no animals, no combat even. Just a silent game. It'd be near unplayable if you experienced it that way from the beginning. Everybody's guilty of at some point muting the game and playing music to just go out and grind stuff, right? But from the get-go, you need that sound to really bring you in and get you to experience and grow a love and connection to that environment. And if it wasn't there, you wouldn't get that. So if it's not good, you're not going to get as good a connection. But if it's better, you're going to be connecting with it even more. It just stands to reason.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I also like how Ash's nurses, I want to be able to like slap my headset in real life because I hear the mosquito like buzz past my ear. And those are little things like hearing the mosquito as it goes past your ear, and like the sound of perhaps something that might potentially attack you off in the distance. Those are all indicator cues that are important for us in the day-to-day real life. But I am also one of those people that usually I don't really care about what the in-game audio sounds like. I actually like turn it way down or off for the most part, and I just listen to my own music depending on what I'm doing. I love listening to the audio in-game when it's story-based because I'm there, I'm in the story, I want to be a part of the story. But if I'm like going to go slaughter, I don't know, a group of things for a quest, I don't really care. But this actually is a good point with what Ravon is saying. I would like to highlight this real quick. Ravon says also sound of wind just moving past the fields, which is ASMR level right there. And they even called attention to that during the video today with the 30-minute video where they're talking with the other developers that helped make this. They're like, we should monetize this, just like a 10-hour loop with like some nice music and just like the natural nature-y things happening. Mm-hmm. And I mean, it's very popular. I myself listen to like stuff like that when I'm working because it's relaxing. It feels like you're out in the world.
Yeah. I know. I have a feeling this time around this is going to be one of the first games where it takes me a while to start turning off the music, but normally with the game I'll listen to the music all the way through, at least into a new area, and when I hit a new area I'll turn the music on and then turn it back off after I hear it a couple times, and I'll listen to other songs because, you know, I do the DJ thing. I need to listen to new music all the time. I always need to listen to new stuff. I have to keep it just constantly coming in, and this will probably be one of the first games where I don't bother listening to outside music for a long time. Probably like at least one complete playthrough to the end of whatever content is available. Then we'll see.
Right. That actually brings me into the video that we're watching here. By the way, this is highly sped up if you guys haven't gotten a chance to see the live stream. And this is not accurate depiction of time or weather events necessarily. I believe he was explaining that he had access to different things he could just toggle. And they sped it up to be able to show you the way that it gradually changes. And my goodness, the quality of changes that they make, it's really natural feeling even in this early stage.
I'll also dial it back a little bit here. I'll put it back to normal speed because I also had it playing at 1.5 speed, so it would progress through the video a couple times while we were streaming and actually get the full video through. But there were some times like this.
Sorry. I was going to say, I don't know if you knew this. You can right click and loop it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that one I got going. Thank you.
No problem.
Appreciate that.
I only learned that recently. That's why I thought, like, who else doesn't know this?
Yeah. But, and that's exactly, I put that right in there for that. Vertec was taken by I don't even know who, and it makes me sad.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did the DJ thing. But speaking of audio stuff, how interesting was it that these waves of wind here are legitimately sound waves?
Yeah, no, that's cool.
Sound waves that they made impact the world out there. So you literally are hearing the wind pass you, and that is exactly what's making everything move.
It's been so long that they think you're a first-time chatter.
Oh my goodness, Tio. Hello.
Hey, Tio. Welcome in.
Long time no see, friend.
Goodness.
Welcome back.
Welcome back. Goodness. No, that's really cool, actually. And I love all the work that Intrepid is putting into everything, between the environment and everything. Again, what Ashes of Nair said, they put in a lot of concentration on not just the visual effects but also the audio effects, and that speaks volumes. It really does. You can tell. It's nice. Also, hearing the wind picked up, oof, that was a little terrifying, I have to say. Like, I heard the wind picked up and that made me look up to see what was happening on the screen. So it's already doing its job when I'm not even in the game. I'm just listening to audio playing of it. So
To be fair, I don't think. See, I'm not a music listener. I'm normally in Discord, just chatting with folks. So I'm probably just going to be consistently listening to the environment and the stuff going on in the game. So for me, if they've got it wrong, I won't name certain games, but there's definitely certain games where the sound effects are just awful, or the stuff going on. I think it'd be a big thing for me. Like something that would kind of grind us down. It was terrible, but I think. And this is like pre-alpha 2 as well. What is it going to be like post-launch? Like, how is it going to actually play out? And then once it's even more polished, I think it's going to be class. And we haven't seen, obviously, so even adding in the music from the guy. I think did they say we were going to see Lado's music in beta 1? Or was it beta 2? I think so.
You know what? I forget if they said 1 or 2.
I think it was maybe 1.
I definitely remember it was beta
1
is what they mentioned.
Beta 1. The official music is beta 1.
And Cash, of course, it's going to be Pink Wig. Why would it not? I don't even understand. And yes, Bolvrek. I would say agree. Like, we both highly enjoyed this, and as soon as we finished watching, we were both like, "Oh my gosh, did you see that? Is that for?" But we had to contain some of our interaction and talking about it until the podcast, so we didn't like talk things out and then forget what we said and not say it again.
So yeah,
I'm honestly like gonna testify that Vertek and I almost got into like a mini discussion while writing the notes. We had to like hold each other back, like, no, wait.
Yeah, we did. I think like we as we're writing notes, we got in like a text conversation kind of, because there were two statements that Steven made that kind of contradict themselves to a point.
Let's bring that in.
Yeah, let's do it. So for one is in this video we're watching here, right around the 10 minute and 30 second mark. I wrote down the quote exactly. He'd said, creatures and loot tables change. Their behaviors might change. And that was in reference to what alters when seasons change and weather changes completely. But then there was a question and answer where, let's see, Nelson asked about the weather system. What, if any, effects will biomes and changes in weather have on dungeons, raids, non-instance events? And the second part of it was, what about on loot? And he said that the loot tables will not change. They'll depend on the things you kill.
Do you think that's him trying to be guarded though? Like, I feel like sometimes when he says stuff, he's trying to tell us information, but because of the way he is, he kind of guards it a little bit, because you've seen how he's bad for leaking, like with the level cap for Alpha 2. I imagine we weren't meant to know that straight away. But I feel like sometimes he guards what he's saying, and rather than just be like this passionate version of himself, he watches what he's saying. So sometimes I don't know if the information comes across correctly because of that.
That's fair.
Yeah,
I feel like. Sorry, go ahead. You first.
Oh no, you go ahead. I spoke first, so your turn.
So this is where I kind of rebutted with the loot tables are predictated on the monsters you kill. So for example, the Kieran Winter version may have a different loot table than the Kieran Summer version. And I figured this could be something that we could raise for further like clarification from Steven, given that Vertek caught on to the specific quote given in the YouTube video, and then this specific response given in the question and answering section. But I think that it's not completely incorrect, because he's saying that loot tables in general won't change. And I think what he means by that is in respect to perhaps what things you can get from like maybe a boss during the winter specifically, unless it was a special version of that boss for winter. So like a boss that spawns during winter would drop maybe more towards the Varen quote unquote Christmas. We're not going to call it Christmas, but perhaps expecting something like that to drop, more of like a wintry item. But yeah.
By the way, TL,
Theater
thank
Elf.
you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Subscribing for 6 months in advance. That's super amazing.
That is
What a return trip. What a return trip. Thank you so much. Much appreciated.
I can't add anything to the tech. No, deck. Please let me add.
No. Click. You can do it. Oh.
I'm going to refresh and I'm going to try clicking
There
it
you go.
again.
But yeah, that I think might end up being kind of the connection there, is that even though the first time around he says creatures and loot tables change, I think maybe what he meant was what he said the second time, which is the creatures may change. And the loot tables don't change on creatures that stay there, but because it's a new creature coming in to replace an old one, the loot table comes with it.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. So it's the creatures that change, and each creature has its own separate loot table. So I think that's probably what it was more supposed to mean.
Also, let's keep an eye on perhaps Jalon, because Jalon, as you guys know, Paradox Gaming Network, is really a stickler for like things that seem a little murky in terms of a answer, and wants to get clarification on it. So perhaps that might be something that he caught as well. I actually intend to see if he streamed today, to then go back and see if he commented on that at all in case he caught it. Because I mean, if not, we could always, ask his thought and opinion too, because we love hearing other people's thoughts and opinions. And, as of late, not able to always chat with Jalon. Everybody's been busy.
Yeah. Everybody has. It's true.
Adult life, work, kids, and no time. Yeah.
Exactly.
So, let's see. Magisto says, how do you guys feel about weather effects affecting armor rating and such?
I think that would be pretty cool. I think some folk might find it a massive ball ache and get annoyed because maybe you're slower if you've heavier armor, or I don't know, flak style armor. That's quite a complex thing that I didn't know. There's a lot of balancing and a lot of different sets. So there's a lot of issues there, but if they could pull it off and do it properly, I think it would be cool. I'd be for something like that.
Yeah, it'd be really, really interesting. Armor rating specifically, I think is going to be... I think that one might be tough to do, but...
Yeah.
Certain effects, like, for instance, the heavier armor, maybe not getting a cold debuff very often, but like you were mentioning, moving slower, though. And the thinner armor won't get the slow moving debuff, but would get the cold debuff.
Yeah, exactly. And also, as Steven has mentioned before, and as Ashes of Nair brings up as a point, currently Fireball less effective against frozen plate mail, perhaps.
Yeah,
less effective or more. Metal going as a shock from frozen to hot might crack.
Oh, they're going to have some issues balancing this. If they do certain things, like you're going to have someone saying scientifically that wouldn't work, like you've got to do it this way. But no, I think that would be cool. I want to see I would like to see some gameplay of that. I know we probably won't see it all anytime soon, but I'd like to see how it works in game. I think that's something you'd need to test and try out. Like, talking about it's one thing, but it would play out differently, especially with the way games are. There'd be some crazy meta there, some broken exploit ready to be had.
Yeah. And Bullfrick, I am aware that the time frame for the game coming out is pretty far out. However, one thing as a new viewer you should know about Vertec and I'm not sure about Azrael specifically or personally, but Vertek and I have backed the game since 2017. We have access to all of the phases, and that's partially why we also thought it'd be fun to do a podcast on it, because we have access to every testing phase and can give our own individual input, as well as listening to other people who have access to those same phases or are seeing the gameplay from us and their input. So while it may not be perhaps released anytime soon, there's plenty to go off of in terms of gameplay and updates that the studio provides each month, such as today's updates. And it's very exciting to be a part of, considering a lot of us have been here since the beginning. And watching this game develop over time, we get very excited to see the progress, because this is all very difficult work. And I don't know. What do you guys think? Would you say, since the changeover to Unreal Engine, UE5 has been increasing the productivity? Have we seen more things come out recently than before? Or do you think it just happens to be a timing thing?
I think the character creator was absolute belter. That was obviously UE5 character creator. I don't really know on that, because we haven't been shown enough. I personally believe they're miles further along than a lot of folk think. And I think UE5, like obviously they said short term, it's not going to change a lot, but long term, with the progression and how fast they can do stuff, I think it will. But I think you're talking there at least 7-8 month scale, not like a couple of months or a couple of weeks. So I think it's definitely going to speed up the process. And as for the game, I know the game it ain't coming out for, I'd say, a good couple of years, but you've got to think that Alpha 2, I know it is testing, but you know what Steven's like. When this Alpha 2 comes out, this ain't going to be a standard half-assed buggy. Well, obviously it'll be buggy, but I reckon Steven's really going to push it there. I think we're in for a treat, and obviously it's persistent. So for me, I'm in the Alpha 2, and a lot of people are saying about the price of it, but I think it's priceless. Like, if you're invested in this game and you want to play, that's going to be awesome. Like, I can't wait to experience it, give feedback, help shape the game. And it's just, for me, there's no real good MMOs at the minute. So like, I'll be no life in this. I'll probably be only playing Alpha 2, but a bit sad, but that's the way I'm going to be, because I'm excited to get in. And I honestly think we'll see that Q1 latest next year, but hopefully I'm not wrong, maybe wishful thinking, but yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think my personal opinion falls right there with Magisto. Like 2 to 3 years, I would say, to be honest. 2 to 3 years is what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah, full
and
launch
I mean,
is going to take a bit.
Yeah, there's that too, and the fact that Steven had a lot to learn from, as this is his first game that he's building, and I think that's why we aren't being given as many time frames as we used to be given, because Ashes. Hey, Golid. But yeah, I think the reason why we're seeing less and less time frames unless they're sure of it is because they want to make sure that they're absolutely careful and thoughtful when they give us dates. I would rather them do what they're doing currently than do what they did initially, even though that was like not intentional. It wasn't something they did out of malice. They're not like, we're going to give dates and then not like fulfill those. It was more like let's not let them down by giving them an expectation. Let's not build their hopes up for this level of game development by this point in time when we're not quite sure, given they took a very long time off right after, everybody hates this one, APOC, because of all of the back end stuff that they had to deal with. There was a lot of back end that they had to figure out and fix and make work on like properly. And honestly, it was a testing environment in general, open to the public, just to get people in there and trying things. But it's one of those things that's very vital. If you don't have a good back end, then yeah, exactly. Basically had to probably scrap and start over.
Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff they had to just get rid of and start anew.
I think we'll know a better like time frame. It's definitely going to be like 2 to 3 years. I agree with you, but I think once we're in Alpha 2 and we're actually testing to see how buggy it is, or they'll pick up stuff that they didn't even expect. I think from that, a few months in, maybe 4 or 5 months in, depending how persistent it is or how long it runs and what goes on, if the servers go down and whatnot, I think that's when you'll be able to estimate really how far the game is out and kind of predict it a bit better. But then even then, they might decide to delay it. It might be bang on and might be smooth, and then they might decide they want to add something, something isn't right. Stephen will delay if he has to, because he wants a bang on product, which is fair, to be honest.
Right. I mean, it makes sense because it's your baby and you want to make sure it's perceived well.
Yeah.
It's a lot that goes into it.
Yep. And just flat out wants to not release until the product is done and good.
Yeah.
And from the conversation or the talk that he had today, where he was mentioning just this and that and all the different systems, and kind of some of the response that he gave around that, I have a feeling that they're still pushing through a lot of constructing of those main core systems. Rather than getting them in place and fine-tuning and getting ready for Alpha 2, they're still kind of building out some stuff and still maybe in some debate on a few things.
Yeah.
So it's starting to look like, So it's really starting to look like 2023 is going to be the year of Alpha 2.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just realized it's already 7:50.
My, how time flies.
It's
right.
All good.
Okay. Wait, you know what? Let's just pop this up real quick because I see this as a conversation and I want to grab this because, so Theater says, I wish they would quit trying to do hybrid and go full tab. And, where is Nares? I thought I had it right here. There we go.
There we go.
And then Nair says, but maybe combat is holding them back if they want to nail that as well as they can. And then Theater was saying, that's why I think they should go full tab. By the way, I'm playing with the fancy thing that we got set up because I like it. I like putting you guys up there so that like other people can see what we're referencing. And if I say anything, then it's just nice for you guys to see what the person actually said. But what do you guys think? Because that was actually something that was talked about today by Steven regarding Alpha 2 in the question from Talents, who was asking about combat and saying, what changes are you discussing or implementing that will change from Alpha 1 to Alpha 2? And he kind of hesitated a moment before Maggie was like, just top 5, just give us 5 or like 2. And he says there's going to be additional archetypes, additional ability support in regards to functionality, augment systems, and they're working on split body and root motion basic weapon attacks, as well as a sheer expansive itemization table that will be available in Alpha 2 that was not available in Alpha 1. But we got hashtag team action combat. We got hashtag team. Well, nobody's done that one, but I'm just going to do hashtag team tab targeting, tab combat. What are your thoughts, Azriel and Vertec?
I think, I don't know. So for me, it's like I'm not swayed either side. Like I'm not dead against action. I'm not dead against tab. Personally, I've played loads of action style games. Say for example, BDO. I'm not a fan of it. But I don't mind the combat. I thought it was really enjoyable, but would it work in Ashes of Creation? Definitely not. Even New World, as bad as it sounds, like people hate us for that. But like I didn't mind the combat there. But I think I would like to see them knock out a workable, really good hybrid system. But the thing is that they need to make sure it works. Like I'm honestly not bothered. All I want is I'm happy with either or. Like I just want a good combat system, something that works. It doesn't have to go either side, either way. I just want something that's decent. So, and it does seem like I don't know if they fully know yet. I know they said they're working on this new prototype, but what he said today, to me, it seems like there's still a lot up in the air. They're not fully decided. There's a lot of shit going on. So I don't know. I don't know how to play out. Hopefully it's good though. Well, it's next couple of months, isn't it? 2 to 3 months. They said we'll maybe see more. So
potentially, yeah. No, it's cool. For now, just interested in how they're gonna make the hybrid combat before I make a judgment. Yeah, I'm actually. You know what? I will throw that up there. I'm actually in the same thought process as this. But what about you, Vertec?
I am actually right now putting up a 3-minute poll here.
Oh, perfect.
We'll call it a 2-minute poll for what type of combat system do you prefer?
Yeah.
Personally, I'll throw mine out as let's see. Okay, there we go. Start poll. Personally, I am a huge fan of a well-done action or hybrid system. Huge. All about it, mainly because I like to have a more realistic feel of when I'm a tank and I got a big old shield and I run at something and I swing my weapon at something. I don't need to make sure that I have tabbed to the correct thing, or that I haven't accidentally clicked tab to tab away, or I haven't selected anything at all and suddenly I'm just swinging and not hitting anything. Yeah, McNay, but hybrid system may be a cheesy answer, but it's a legitimate one because some people are pure tabbers. They don't want any kind of action at all in their system, and some people are purely action. They don't want any tab. So hybrid is that. I really enjoy a hybrid system specifically because of something like WildStar. WildStar, if you haven't played it, you had pure action moves that would give you a red telegraph on the ground and then boom, cast a skill. And the enemies would come in attacking you the same way. There'd be a big red telegraph and then boom. But then there were also tab target skills where you could select a specific person, and healing and tanking were two areas specifically where that came in super handy because you need to heal that one person. That person is going to die if I don't heal them. Or 3 people are dead and I can battle res 1. I need to pick the one that's most important to this fight being, 1. And a tank, I need to taunt that thing. And I'm not voting in the poll here just because I want it to be kind of a pure thing from people in chat. Hybrid is definitely a very valid answer because it's needed, in my opinion, to be a fully comprehensive battle system. It needs to have both. To some degree or another, it needs to have both, I feel. Even if the only action thing is your auto attack. And you need to keep aiming it at something and attacking manually, whatever. Even if it's only that.
I agree with most of that. I definitely think, I think it would be decent. But my only worry is, I think a hybrid system would be better, but it's doing it correctly. That is my only worry. I'm hoping, it's done and it works. But I have faith. Everything else they seem to be doing seems to be working, and I'm happy with what I'm seeing. But, I'll make my proper decision hopefully in 2 or 3 months. And we can see, but it's going to develop over time regardless. Even if we get this after Alpha 2, it won't be the same. Beta 1, Beta 2. And then I would honestly say, once the game launches, I think we'll see it go through shitloads of changes. And I think that might be the one thing with Ashes that is maybe an issue. Because the combat's so hard to get, man, and people are so... Well, they can make or break a game. If the combat is absolute, and from what I've seen, even after one, I don't mind. I think it looks decent. But if the combat is absolute dog shit, people won't want to play. That will put them off the game. But I just don't see them doing that. They're too competent, and the way Intrepid's doing stuff, I just don't see them cocking it up. But I suppose we'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah. Sorry. That look earlier, by the way, was at Kosh, because I noticed Kosh put 4,000 channel points into voting. I don't know if you disabled that or not, but that's why I gave that look, because I knew, Kosh. I knew.
Spending points on something.
Yeah, that's fair. I'm just teasing, really.
But I'm in, I suppose, more favor of them just putting out a combat system that works and feels good. So I would be okay if it ended up being almost completely or even fully tab. It would just make me very sad. It would make me very, very sad because I really connect a lot better on the hybrid. Like McNay says, it's really the obvious answer being the best way to go in my mind, but some don't see it that way.
Cash spoiled the pool. I tease. But yeah.
On a totally different run. Oh, sorry, my bad.
Oh no, it's okay. I know where you were getting. It's already 8 p.m.
I've heard now. They seem to be fully asleep there, so they haven't kept lurking downstairs yet. So we can keep going for a bit if you want. The other thing I was going to say is, what do you think about the corruption system or the bounty system? Have you got any issues with that, or are you happy with how it all is?
That's another system that I'm gonna have to wait to see how it plays out before I have an official opinion on that.
Yeah, fair dues.
I am 100% in support of the idea of that system and how it's theoretically going to work. I'll say that. We'll have to see how it plays out, though.
I think the only issue I have with the bounty hunter system is I think it should be damage dealt, because at the minute I think they're saying that if you get the last hit, and I know Stephen said he might change that, I think that would be a bit sketchy. I know this is totally random, but I think it should be damage dealt, because you could just get some jump in last minute and take the reward for that. But yeah, I think there's a lot of systems that definitely need tweaked, but they're definitely anything where there's a little problem, you can already see them discussing it and debating it. So clearly they know, and I think they'll be the same with the combat. They'll already be picking up on potential issues with this prototype they're working on.
Yeah, that's fair. I would actually, can I just, Bulwark, since they're new also, this is actually a comment that I think kind of matters a little bit, which is the hope they don't release at the same time as the right MMOs come out. And that, the reason why I want to point this out is because there was that delay that we had with Alpha 1 because of the big things that were happening when they're initially trying to do it, as well as some of the other stuff. And I think Intrepid is probably watching what other people are doing in terms of companies and release dates and stuff like that to try to be more mindful of that. Because again, I have a diverse player base within Ashes. There's so many different parts of Ashes that are going to be spread across all the different, I guess, systems that we have, right? So because of that, I think they're trying to be mindful of what other things people might be potentially interested in. So yeah, exactly. And so Rivan even makes a good point with this. Like, it would be really bad if they decide to release the same day as Right MMO or even any other future competitors. So it speaks more to my point. But going back to what you guys were talking about, Ashes and Air says, yeah, I think corruption gain should be for everyone involved in the kill, not just the one doing the killing blow.
Yeah, I think that should definitely be a thing. Damage done also with when being combined with last hit, both of them adding to corruption, and reason being is that if you have somebody that runs up to someone else that they're like trolling because they're out there gardening, and they beat them down to like one hit, and then they get a creature nearby that ends up doing an AoE attack that then downs that person and kills them. That was not last hit, so they don't get corruption, right? Or for that matter, if they see somebody who's fighting a bunch of creatures and they just keep following them around while they're out there hunting and trying to level and do quests, and they wait until they get down to the very last little bit of life left, and they do literally just the last hit. So I think it should be combined, like most damage as well as last hit should get you that corruption.
There's definitely a lot of issues with the corruption system. Like, if you look at it the way, in theory, the way it's said to be, but if you think about the way gamers are, and especially in such a competitive game like this, because there will be a major competitive side, you will have people making alts just to go out PK people and semi-decently kitting them up. Even if you're going to siege another node and you're like, right, let's cause some issues there, destabilize that area, send some PKs over, alts corrupted, just killing people, annoying people. I think you're definitely going to see people windling the system. So, and I know that to us gamers, that's not so much intrepid, but you're going to have to see how they balance that out and how they're going to do it. And I know obviously they say you can't trade when you're corrupted and whatnot, but there's always ways around these systems and little exploits. But maybe that's something we're just going to have to tolerate and as players kind of figure out how to work around. But I think it's good that they're implementing this stuff. Like, they do care. And I know a lot of it gets heat, but at least the stepping stones are there and they're already thinking about it and trying to balance it. So I think some of the systems need work, but I'm happy that they're actually putting them in place for the game.
I also, sorry, I just liked this comment, so I'm putting it up on the screen. Following up that comment would be the joke about Steven having 2 right feet.
Yeah. That was funny. Just to confirm,
it's a sweet
you have
gesture,
2
though.
great feet. All right, well,
all right.
We went a little bit past here, so let's get everybody ready to move along to someone else. We have our guest tonight is from a completely different time zone, and this is really silly late for Azrael here, so we're going to cut out without going another half an hour like we normally do.
1 a.m. for me, 5+1. I'd have normally stayed on longer, but I've got to go get my son in the morning, so I'm going to be like a sleep-deprived zombie. But I thought, I said I was coming. I messed up the time as well. I thought it was earlier, but I'd fucked up the time. But no, it's all good, man. It's good to jump on and have a crack.
Yeah, definitely. And I think there's a lot more to be said about this topic, today's live stream specifically. So expect more conversations in the next few weeks with future guests that we're having on. But my final question, because we love asking this to everybody, what is the biggest thing that has stuck out to you with today's live stream? What's the thing you take away from it?
Biggest thing, the immersion of it, and obviously the way like it could affect PvE when the lakes freeze over or you boats. There's so many different ways or locking off certain. I can't pick one. I literally can't pick one. There's just so much, especially with the ice blocking off certain areas, locking off temporarily some content. Yeah, I think it's all good. I think with the systems combined with the immersion element and the sounds, it's going to be pretty fucking awesome. So I'm really looking forward to Alpha 2, testing it all out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, I really like the idea of, outside of the ambience that I'd mentioned earlier, the idea that the seasons can block off or open paths of travel and little secret areas, depending on how you look at it. Because that means for those that like to explore and just look for things and climb all the stuff and go under all the things, there's going to be 4 distinct seasons where you might have a chance to find something that wasn't there in one of the other 3 seasons.
Yeah.
So
mine was enjoying, I guess, just the environment and the smoothness of everything as it changes from season to season. But don't worry, Cash, because the person we're about to go read would be Captain Redbeard, who is doing a live review and their first time watching the live stream. So if you haven't caught it yet, good news for you, they've only started like 20 minutes ago, so they're not too far into it. And you get to go watch all of the stuff for yourself and see their reaction along with.
Yeah, I don't even think they've played the first separate video. I think they're still talking about random updates for the studio.
Yep. Exactly. I went ahead and got that together. There we go.
Azrael, do you have any closing information for anybody? Your social medias, any little projects you're working on, something you're excited about that you just put out as far as videos or whatnot?
At the minute, I'm really hooked on naval combat. So that's kind of what I'm making videos on at the minute. YouTube is mainly where I'll do my stuff. I'm active on Twitter, and I won't be doing much streaming. I probably won't stream till Alpha 2, but if you want to see any of my content, that's mainly on YouTube, and I'll be doing weekly ones because I don't think I'll survive doing 3 videos a week, especially if quarter 1 is not to, it's going to be quarter 1 for Alpha 2. But yeah, just check us out on YouTube, and hopefully you enjoy some of the content. Fairly newer, but slowly learning.
All right.
Awesome.
Well, everybody, thank you so much for stopping by and spending your time with us. You could have been anywhere doing anything, experiencing real weather outside that I hear exists, but instead we're going to find out about digital weather.
Yeah,
which we did.
That's it.
And we talked about it, and it was great. But yes, thank you.
I'll take digital.
Appreciate every one of you, and thank you for chatting with us.
Cheers for having us on.
See you guys next week.